So you want to get out of debt. Well, then you've come to the right video. And at the end of this video, I'm going to give you a little tip to kind of help speed things along. So first and foremost, you need a budget. And to have a budget, you need to know how much you bring in and how much you pay out. So write down your income that you bring home every month. And for these purposes, I'm going to use $4,000 as an example. So your income's $4,000. Now add up everything that you absolutely have to pay every month. So this would be groceries, gas, utilities, rent or mortgage, any insurance, all that needs to be written down. Now you want to total those up. Now for our purposes, we're going to say you bring in $4,000 a month and all of your expenses added together comes up to $3,000. So that means if you only spent money on what you absolutely had to, you would have $1,000 left over. So what you want to do is you're going to take that $1,000 that's left over and you're going to allocate half of that into a savings account. The reason that we're going to do this is because you need to set up an emergency fund. $1,000 to $2,000 in case something happens. You'll have the cash on hand to deal with the situation and not have to rely on credit cards or any other type of quick loans. So once you have your emergency fund set up, you're going to stop contributing that $500 and you're going to start allocating that $500 to whatever your lowest monthly bill is. So if that's a credit card, and let's say the credit card's $125 a month normally, then you're going to send $625 to that credit card. That's going to allow you to pay that down quicker. Now once that credit card's paid off, you're going to take that $625 and you're going to add it to the next bill. So if your next bill is $200, you're going to take that $625, you're going to add it to that. Now it's $825 that you're sending to the next biggest bill. And you're going to continue to do this until you get the last one paid off. This is what we call the snowball effect. And it helps if you start with the smallest one only because you get to see the rewards from paying things off versus trying to tackle the biggest one, the one that has the highest interest rate. And it may take years and you're just not seeing any progress and you give up. This way you see some progress relatively quickly and you get to see how motivated you can be once that first one's done. Now, let's say that you're so tight with everything that maybe you only have $100 left over every month. Well, again, you're going to split that and save for that emergency fund because you absolutely need to have that. Next, you're going to use only cash. No credit cards for anything. If you can't pay for it in cash, you don't need it. The other option to that is finding a side hustle. Now that could be, maybe you deliver pizzas or you work part-time down at the local convenience store or at Home Depot, Lowe's, the grocery store, or find things around your house that have a little bit of value, sell those online on eBay. There's a number of ways that you can make extra money to help you get yourself out of debt. And the whole reason we want out of debt is to free up our disposable income to invest in things like index funds, IRA accounts, things like that. Now, if you do happen to have a 401k with your employer, what most people do is every time they get a raise, they raise up that contribution. But until you're out of debt, you don't want to do that. You want to stay at the level you're at. If you get a raise, that extra money goes to you to help pay your bills off. Just keep your 401k contributions where they're at. Once you've got some things paid off, then you can up that contribution. But if you're not getting yourself out of debt, then all you're doing is spinning your wheels by doing that. So let's get you out of debt, then you worry about your investments. So how can you expedite this? Make it go faster. Well, most of this is going to be dependent upon your credit score. So if you have a credit scores that's up in the 600s to 700s, there's an option for you to go out there and get a 0% balance transfer credit card. Now I've done this many times and it works great, but you got to be disciplined because this is an easy way to get yourself locked into trouble with another credit card. So let's say you have a credit card that has a balance of $10,000. So there are a number of credit cards out there that you can get that are 0% interest on a transfer from anywhere from 12 to 18 months. Now when you do that transfer, you do have to pay a fee, and it's usually 3%. Some are higher, but most of them are going to be around 3%. So on $10,000, it's going to cost you $300 to do a balance transfer. But if you're paying a $10,000 credit card at, say, 19% interest, in just a couple of months, you've saved that $300 and made it back. And then you have the rest of the time that you're going to be paying whatever that minimum is that you've been paying along with your extra money, and paying that down without having to pay interest on it. So if your credit card was going to take you 5 years to pay down on that $10,000 because you've only been making the minimum payment, by transferring that, paying that $300, and now allocating everything 100% to principal, you're going to pay that credit card off quicker. And if you get to the end of the promotional period and you find that you haven't quite made it, do another balance transfer. You're still going to come out ahead. You can probably do a balance transfer 3 times maybe before you start getting to that break-even point. But even at that, you're still going to pay it off quicker than if you sat on it, paid the absolute minimum that they require, and pay that 19 to 23% interest. So that's a little tip for you. That will help you get out of debt. It's going to make life easier for you. Hope you liked this video. Hope it gave you some information and some insight on how to get yourself out of debt. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.